This is BofC Live, the video and podcast series of Business of Cannabis. Find out all that we do at businessofcannabis.com. Coming up on BofC Live, we connect with Conor O'Brien, the author of Prohibition Partners' 7th edition of the European Cannabis Report. We're going to be talking all things European cannabis. Here is Conor O'Brien. Conor, thanks for being here again. Always nice to see you.
Jay, great to be back virtually.
Virtually, someday in person. I look forward to that. I want to talk to you today about a new report that you put out, the Prohibition Partners put out, the European Cannabis Report. By my count, because I've been reading them, the 7th one, maybe more, but I've read about 7. I assume that's most of them.
That is right.
Some of the sort of key. Is that right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell us some of the key things that us in North America, like what are the things we ought to be thinking about, and what does the report say that sort of the headlines that we need to know?
Right. Well, I mean, there's so much going on in European cannabis. There's new things happening every day, and as we're releasing this report, it's like, oh my God, another major thing happened yesterday or this morning. But say overall, if we look at it from a monetary point of view, we're calculating that about 353 million euro worth of unlicensed cannabis medicines, and not your Epidiolex, but your
Right.
Tilray products,
Right.
will be sold this year. And we think that in terms of growth, it will look like about 2.3 billion by 2026.
Some pretty rapid growth.
Pretty rapid growth, averaging something like 60% per year. Obviously when it gets out to 2026, it's a little bit more speculative than if we're just projecting a year or two. But the main things driving this are the progress and access in the main markets of Germany. There was, I think, 43% growth in just the amount of cannabis being sold to pharmacies from 2020 to 2021. One of the nice bits of exclusive data that we've got in this report is from the UK government, and they showed that in England about 450% more products were dispensed in 2021 than in 2020. So there is, it's getting a lot better for patients fast in some countries. Obviously it would be nicer if it was across the board, but there's definitely a lot to talk about.
Well, that's good. I mean, that's all up and to the right, and sometimes really rapidly, like we like to say in Canada, sort of hockey stick growth, and in some cases steady growth and increasing sort of access to patients in Germany. And I guess the question is, how do you almost segment the market? Because obviously there's proper medical programs like in Germany that pharma covers. Then there's a CBD industry, and we've done a lot with you around programming around that, what does that industry look like? And then there's I guess the future, you tell me, of adult use cannabis like we have in Canada or in some places in the US. Is that how you sort of break it down in terms of medical, a CBD, almost like consumer packaged good, and an adult use framework?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's how we would break it down. That's how we break it down in the report. I definitely think that's how regulators see it, and therefore that's how businesses should see it. So the majority of this report focuses on medical, and all of these aspects, the changing supply chain. A lot of the production is moving from Canada to Europe. Events like this, phenomena like this. Mm-hmm. And that's got medical cannabis as its own whole set of regulations. It's distinct from CBD in Europe. It's definitely distinct from medical cannabis in North America. For CBD, there's a whole other set of phenomena. So technically, at the moment, no CBD oils, for example, or no CO2 extracted CBD oils, which is a lot of products,
right,
should be sold in the European market. But a big event that we discuss in our report is that they're kind of really, regulators are really moving CBD towards being like a fully legally protected consumer packaged good. So like the novel foods applications that
well, that fits
about
right into
this.
what you were saying before, that things change so rapidly. Even changed this week in the UK, right around novel foods. The first, you're going to tell me, but I think the first group of companies got approved. You're going to tell me.
Yeah, I think that's today. If not yesterday, today, like literally today, the UK are now saying, okay, there's this many products that are their applications to become fully licensed products are at least valid. So they're not going to remove those products from the shelves. The same thing happened at a European wide level a couple of weeks ago. So that's kind of where CBD is at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that I think, funny timing, of course, because the report's coming out and these major things, regulatory initiatives are breaking. But I think that actually underscores the need for a report like this, and what folks who are not in Europe can actually glean from it, which is primarily our audience, which is this is a market poised for huge growth, right? That was sort of the first part. Two,
Huge growth,
there's really, three or more things to look at. One, a medical program. Two, like a consumer packaged goods, CBD, food input. And three, adult use. And this report, well, the initial part is free to download, and there are other bolt-ons that I think provide deeper dives. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. That's the way we structured it. So the majority of the report is free to download. That covers medical and CBD in a lot of detail. There's a lot of data there that hasn't been reported on anywhere else. So I think it's the most up-to-date overview you'll get. If companies or individuals want to dive deeper into the market sizing that we do, they have that option. And then also there's this option to get this kind of sub-report on adult use cannabis, because this is the future of the market.
Yeah.
And it's just beginning to stir.
Yeah, and I liken it to, Canada 2015, 2016, where there were some seminal reports that people sort of downloaded, read, reread, still quote, like it is the foundational information you absolutely need to know for markets that are about to grow. And as the kids do, all the information is down below in the links. Like that's what my kids watch on YouTube. That's what they always say. So folks, if you scroll down, you can click and download the report and see how you can access more information as well. Conor, anything that sort of surprised you as you looked at the market as closely as you do? Anything sort of strikes you that would strike someone who knows nothing about the market, like, this is really poised for growth and here's why? Like anything that is really either immediate or in the report or just on the horizon that we ought to be paying attention to?
Oh, there's a lot. I can only say go and read the report. If nothing else, go and read the executive summary. But let's say I think when you talk to people, or when I talk to people at least, they hear medical cannabis in Europe and they're like, oh, that must be completely powered by Canada. They must import all of their stuff from Canada. And that is increasingly not the case. I'd say when you're talking about phenomena that are growing fast in the industry, it's production from all over the world. I think there's 18 countries now supplying to Germany alone.
Much to the chagrin of people within a couple blocks of me here in Toronto.
Right, I can imagine. Yeah.
But even this week, there was a huge story about Portugal, right? And sort of the amount of export, the growth in exports from Portugal, and how it's, skyrocketing from previous years.
Yeah. So if those reports, it depends on the figures. They said 30 tons are being exported, which would put Portugal like at the top of the world in terms of exports, almost. But it's possibly some CBD flower in there. But anyway, yes. So much is being transferred over to Portugal. I was talking to Tilray. They've moved almost all of their production for Europe over to Portugal. Yeah, and lots of business reasons for that, which we go into in the report.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because we have a conversation coming up next week about a company that helps companies build their grows, and he says he's been taking the flight a lot back and forth to Portugal, right? Like it's because there's lots of things happening there. Well, Conor, it's a great, I'm about to download it and read the whole thing so I can come back to you even more informed for next time. I encourage folks to click the link below to download theirs. And if you're interested in sort of the deeper dives, those are available as well at the link below. Conor, it's always good to see you, talk to you, understand the market better, because I feel like it's just sitting there and some of those key sort of regulatory triggers are about to be pulled, and which is really exciting to sort of
absolutely. Yeah.
Thanks, Conor. We look forward to connecting with you down the road, and great work.
Thanks a lot, Jake. Talk to you again.
That was BofC Live. If you like this program, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can also find us wherever you find your podcasts. We're able to do what we do because of ongoing partnerships with Alterna Savings, Cannabis at Work, Cannabis Benchmark, Can Delta, Gallagher, Headset, and Torque & Mains. Find out all that we do at businessofcannabis.com.